Imagine it is October 2026. Are we rich or are we pre-rich? Are we eating lobsters or flipping burgers? I prefer burgers over lobster anyway. Nevertheless, let's take a look at the market, what we can expect for the coming year. Because to be fair, nobody in crypto predicted exactly what happened this time so far, right? What happened in crypto this time so far is that Bitcoin, this went into a pretty predictable bull market, right? We had the bottom at the end of 2022, and so far we had the top at the end of 2025. And based on a 4-year cycle, this was very predictable. But based on a 4-year cycle, we also would have had an alt season. We would have had more euphoria in the market in the first place. But it has been so far a cycle which has been holding back quite a lot. And the question now remains, is that because everything is dead, that the low cap altcoins are dead, that stocks are dead, that no money injection in the market will ever happen again? Or is it because this market is just simply not done yet? Yeah. You know what I think? I think the second, and that's for a good reason, and I will show you that reason very quickly, and therefore you also might understand better why I think that in October 2026, that's why we're going to see Max Pain, right? Welcome, by the way. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on. And the Max Pain is always there in every market. If there is no Max Pain, you will not get an insane bear market or an insane bull market anyway. Because if everybody is like, oh, yeah, it can go up and it can go down, so I'm kind of halfway in, then nobody will get and feel the ultimate wreckness, right? The bears have not been completely wrecked or anything, right? The bears have not been completely wrecked, but the bulls also have not been completely wrecked. Bitcoin is up 8x from the bottom to the top. Altcoins, they are now flat against Bitcoin for 1.5 years, unless you're in the low cap trash altcoins, but don't be in a low cap trash altcoins, right? You want to be in a little bit of quality. Of course, a little gambling here and there is fine. I just bought some Polish, for example, at this lower side right here. And that's all nice. But my main holdings are the coins that are just as big as an ADA, as an AVAX, as Tau, as Render, Ethereum, these kind of things, right? And they have been doing pretty well, right? They gave some good returns. If you took your profits, then it's fine. And now it's down a little bit again. But these are overall not down 95%. So, the market has not been satisfying anyone really, right? So that's hard to imagine that we then also get a normal bear market that lasts for 1 year and that goes down with around 70%. Right? Because we never had the euphoria. We never had retail FOMOing in. We never had the moment where everybody said, like, it's going higher forever and 200K this and that everybody was happy and it was all over the place. We never had that. So we don't have the typical panic selling as well. Right, that leads to a big domino effect. What we had so far is the third or fourth, 35% correction in this market so far. And the reason that it scares people is that it now happens at the end of the post-halving year. And according to, most of the 4-year cycle, that's where the cycle should end. Right now, in my opinion, that's where the max pain is going to be. Are we going down in the meantime, in the coming couple months with, I don't know, another 30%-ish? Maybe. There's a good chance. Sure. I don't know. Right? That's always hard to predict, actually. Because the crypto market is volatile and there's only one small thing that has to happen. And we are kind of there already, right? So I'm prepared for that. I'm definitely. But I think that the max pain is going to be for the people who are not prepared for the fact that crypto will go up as well. Because the only thing that we know is, well, the 4-year cycle. So there's a guarantee that it will only go down until October 2026, right? And you should just be out of the market because historically, that's super bearish. Yeah, historically, Bitcoin has indeed done that. Historically, that was also when the ISM went down, the whole business cycle went down. The liquidity got drained out of the market. The last bear market, we went from the ISM like to mega overextension, about 68 or so, all the way down to 42. And that's because like there were a lot of reasons, but one of the biggest issues, rates were being raised like crazy, like absolutely crazy. And the liquidity got drained out of the market. Now we are in a stage where everybody is kind of frustrated, right? Because bulls feel like, man, go up. And the bears feel like, go down, right? But we have to see, because the market is a little undecided so far. Rates are now being cut, right? QT is now stopping. Liquidity injections are now happening. The biggest refinancing of the federal debt ever basically is going to happen next year. The ISM is sitting at a point where it can basically only go up from there. Right? It could always go down a little bit in the meantime, right? But there are so many reasons to see like, hey, but this is not the typical bear market. The only thing that makes it the typical bear market is the date on the calendar. Yeah, sorry, that's simply not enough. We need something to happen. And the things that are going to happen are not really justifying a bearish move at all. So, in my opinion, the max pain is this. People expect a bear market until, give or take, right, October 2026. Feel like, well, it is very easy, right? Crypto is easy. You should just be out of the market, and around October 2026, you should just buy back in, and that's it. What if the market is then sitting more close to an all-time high than an all-time low? What are you going to do? Because that scenario is way more likely. And it's hard to understand that sometimes, or to accept that. Right? Because, hey, you had people talking about an extended cycle before and they were all wrong, right? Yeah, sure. But what good reason did they have to talk about it in the first place? They said it was an extended cycle because, hey, Bitcoin is doing freaking well. It can never stop. Yeah, that's exactly the euphoria that makes it stop. This time, that's not the reason. This time, there was no euphoria. There is no retail. There is no alt season. We were in a QT environment. The ISM is sitting very low. Everything that you need in order to get a fat ass bull market is what we're having right now. I'm not saying that this is the bottom, because it's probably not, but this feels and looks, and if you look at all, so much more like a bottom than a top, right? And we're about to see, right? Because there could be bulls in the comments watching this video saying, yeah, man, I mean, definitely, like, I agree. There could be bears in the comments as well, or watching, that say, nah, just 4-year cycle, you're gonna get wrecked. Ha! We'll find out. Like, nobody knows until it happens. But all we can do is, so far, at least look at what is most likely. Yeah, and again, if you compare where we are right now to the start of any other bear market, except for the date on the calendar, there are literally no other similarities when it comes to Bitcoin, altcoins, dominances, macro, TradFi, anything. So I think that the max pain is going to be that in October, we are sitting closer to 200K than 50K. That's my best guess. And that people by then look at that and be like, fuck, I expected a bottom right now. I don't know what to do anymore. Because this was all that I had, trading the 4-year cycle. It was so easy. Crypto is always easy. And now it isn't. What am I supposed to do? Well, already start looking at the things that actually matter a little bit more than just the date on the calendar would surely help. And what's that? Again, I think that if you take the ISM as an example, that's basically all you need, right? Not the PMI, manufacturing new orders. This shows is there money that people want to spend. It's no wonder that the only 2 alt seasons that we had only started when the ISM was elevated. that Bitcoin only goes up when the ISM goes up over a long period. That Bitcoin only goes into a real bear market when the ISM is going into a bear market. That Bitcoin also had a top in 2011, which the 4-year cycle for sure did not predict. It coincided with every mid-cycle crash we had as well, right? If you look at, I don't know, June 2016, right? This was bull market right here. But June 2016, July, August, that period, right? If you look at ISM crashed. Well, here, look at Bitcoin. 50% down, 40, 30, I don't know, 40. Yeah. And look at every single move and tell me that that's a coincidence, but the 3 tops on the 4-year cycle isn't. I'm saying this a lot lately, and I know people get sick of it, but I'm saying this in your best interest and mine as well, because I feel like there are almost no bullish people out there right now. And to be honest, I think they're looking at the wrong thing. Maybe I am. Maybe this is all like one big fat ass bunch of coincidence from the very beginning, and the 4-year cycle isn't. But I don't see why I should look at it like that. And I want you to consider it. Because if the 4-year cycle is everything that you have and that's all you trade, and it turns out that, crypto is just like stocks. It follows a 4-year cycle for fucking shit. No, it follows the business cycle. Then what are you going to do? Yeah, then it's going to be hard for a lot of people, right? And being out of the market is just as dangerous as being in the market, right? Because what if you think like, oh, it's over, and you sell, and it wiggles, whatever you want to call it, craps around right here, and then eventually in October next year, it's sitting really high. You know what you're going to do? You're going to buy the top, 100% guaranteed. Because the people that are now in this, following the 4-year cycle, they only follow their feelings. And they will do the same thing by then. And that gets you wrecked. So consider it. I'm not saying, oh, go all in right now. But be prepared for something that's more likely to happen as well. Okay? Otherwise, it's going to be painful. So, what about alts, right? Alts. Look. If you're trading alts a little bit, right? It's fine. It's nice. Some could have some good bounces, right? And you could look at charts like, it's all the way down here. Yeah. Look, I mean, if you look at altcoins very closely, you can also see that, hey, it went up, it went down, went up, it went down, right? A lot of money to be made. But if you buy somewhere quite high and you hold it, just hold it, and then at the lows you feel like, oh, what's happening? Yeah, then it's not going to work out. I made decent money on altcoins still in this terrible market so far, actually. Right? We had some good chances. But what about alts for the long run? Why did we not have an alt season? Because retail isn't here. No! Retail isn't here because there was no alt season. If Bitcoin goes to 200K, retail will be like, what's happening? Oh, fuck that, bye. They don't care. It's interesting, and then they feel like, I'm not going to buy Bitcoin at 200K, and they go away again. No, retail wants to see an alt season. And what's going to drive an alt season? Money. People willing to take risk because they have money. Whales taking their money out of Bitcoin feel like, we can take risk right now. Let's put our money in. Because if you say that altcoins are not going to pump because alts are dead, right? That's basically the only narrative we always have at good prices, right? Altcoins on their Bitcoin pair. Here we go. Yeah, I mean, it's sitting at the same level now as October or November 2024 and pretty much almost at July 2024. So, I know, betting on an alt season, didn't work. Betting on much lower worked just as bad, basically, because nothing happened. Bulls and bears were both wrong on this one, and the only one who was right was the one saying like, well, they just go sideways for 1.5 years. And not a lot of people called that, I think. But if you look at this and you overlay the Russell against the S&P, bear market, bull market, bear market, good bounce, right? Bear market here, decent bounce. Altcoins on the Bitcoin pair, decent bounce because ISM went up right there, right? And now it's basically not sitting at lows, right? Little above it, both, but they're boring. Yeah. Also, coincidence, or is just like the whole Russell 2000 dead as well? I don't know. No, I do know. It's because people don't have money. Why would they gamble on underperforming shit if they don't even have the money to gamble with? Like, people are sick and tired of that. They feel like, this has been outperforming, let's go with that. Just as people now, they see that, I don't know, gold is finally doing something against Bitcoin and be like, oh, you should be in gold. No, you should have, like, you're buying the top. Like, just look at what's going on. Look at where the opportunities are. Then ask yourself, why is it an opportunity? And if it actually turns out that it is an opportunity instead of that, then take it, right? And that's the same again for the stock market. It looks exactly the same as altcoins on the Bitcoin pair. Yeah, it's not weird. Again, overlay the ISM green. What do you see right here? Our one and only decent pump so far this cycle, right here. End of 2024. That's why altcoins pumped, right? A little bit. They did on the dollar pair, they did well, but it was because Bitcoin was sitting quite high, right? But on the Bitcoin pair, decent pump. No alt season, but nice. So that's how it's looking right now. So if we look at this, we know, right? Like, okay, it depends on macro. And yeah, most people, including me, are not a macro expert, right? And that's hard to predict. But all I do know now is at least that, this is what I need to take a look at. I don't want to take a look at just altcoins, for example, on the Bitcoin pair and be like, oh, it's still sitting here. It must be dead. Yeah, I prefer to buy something that's dead, because that's where the opportunities are, actually. In my opinion, I've said this a couple times, but in my opinion, look, we are very likely getting a rate cut in a couple days, right? Is that gonna make the whole market turn up again? No, probably not. If you look at the rates, they have been going down decently since the beginning of 2024, but we really needed this to go down a little bit more, but this is not enough. What's probably gonna happen is that this month it's gonna go down another 25 basis points, and then for a boring ass long time. And that's where we finally, I think, see the final capitulation. I never said this before, like, last chance to buy, right? There have been good opportunities, but it's not always left. I think that this will be the last chance for this cycle to buy. Why? Because if this goes sideways for a couple months, nothing really happens in the market. Crypto will just go up and down together with the news and the noise, but based on the macro, not spectacular, right? Maybe the stop of QT drives it a little bit up, but overall, QT stopping is an ingredient. M2 is an ingredient, right? The rates are an ingredient. You put it all together, you get the cake that you want. You cannot just eat the flour and say like, oh, good cake, right? Like, bleh. I think that this is where people are going to capitulate, because this cycle already showed. Are altcoins down like that hard? Some are, sure. But overall, no, absolutely not. Look at the last cycles. That was fucked up, right? This time it's more about time. It's patience that's being tested. And I noticed in groups that I'm in as well, people don't believe purely based on that it's taking so long, right? It's time capitulation. Yeah, and this will be the cherry on top for that. And the winners will be the one that stick, right? And these won't be the people that's like end of 2021, beginning 2022, well, I'm going to stick. And these people are going to be exit liquidity. No, there's no exit liquidity in this case, because this is not an exit at all. At all. I can guarantee you this. And if this turns out to be wrong, then I'm fucked more than you because this is my job and I can't sit here anymore with a straight face, right? Because that would be a really bad call. However, if I get this right, I'm making a fuck ton of money because it's PvP. And I have almost seen no players again anymore that agree on what I'm saying. So I'm playing against everybody right here. If I win, I win big. If I lose, I lose. I'll take it. Fuck it. But this is going to be the time capitulation. Then Powell is going to be replaced by someone who is probably very dovish. And if that happens, the rates can go very low, very quick. If this happens in combination with QT stopped, right? Or even QE beginning, that's where it goes up. Hard, really hard. And that's where the max pain is going to be, because most people probably think like, well, yeah, Q1, Q2 of 2026 supposed to be a bear market, right? It isn't supposed to be anything. You have, for the 4-year cycle, just 3 data points that were correct. That's it. I can draw a lot of trend lines on this chart where you had 3 data points and eventually it still broke through. It's a trend, sure, but it's not a guarantee. Don't use it like that. Whenever these rates are going down that hard, that's a good ingredient for the ISM to go up. Whenever the ISM is above, let's say 60, but especially around 65, only then you will get an alt season. At least that's what I think, because I don't want to be a hypocrite. So far, we only had 2 alt seasons, again, and they both only happened when the ISM was sitting there, right? Lag number 1, ISM was there. Lag number 2, ISM was there. And here, alt season number 2, ISM was already there. It shows that, hey, only if people have a lot of money, then it will happen. Only then. Oh, that's fair. I get that. Right, so as long as the macro is not looking good, sure, altcoins can pump. Like that miserable altcoin pump, like I said, that we had end of 2024. For a lot of people, that was insane. Yeah, if you stepped in right here, then every pump is insane, right? Because it's been down only. However, if you compare it to an alt season, yeah, then this was like nothing. This was like 10xing here and there. It's nice, but a lot of people also kind of needed it, right? And it was very short-lived. Once the ISM is higher, we're getting that normal pump. Will every altcoin go up? No, of course not. Right? Because most altcoins are dead and rocked and they cannot go up. But a lot of altcoins as well, yeah, if you look somewhere out of the top 2,000 or something like that, then probably not. There's a lot of crap right there, right? But why would you do that? You don't need that. Right? You can easily look top 100 and make 10x's there. Right? With the current prices, people are saying 10x's here as well. Well, then from here, it's even more possible, right? So my outlook is kind of that, I don't know, man. In the meantime, let me put it like this. I don't expect big firework until April, May. Maybe even later, because, you know, Powell being replaced could be a buy the rumor, sell the news on the short term. And I don't know how fast that person is actually going to cut rates. But by then, there should be somewhat fireworks. Right? That's where the parabolic stage of Bitcoin begins. We haven't seen that yet. And again, consider it, right? Because it is completely fine if you feel like, it's bearish. But also the thing that makes me bullish is that the bears cannot really explain why they are bearish. That's a real good, like, in the last cycle, there was a lot of explanation. Well, liquidity is basically getting completely fucking drained out of the market. Every exchange and everything turned out to be a scam. People lost a lot of fucking money. There was a big ass euphoria top. We just had an alt season. There was a lot of reason to explain right there. Like, yeah, every fucking top indicator already flashed here. Here there were a lot of reasons. Like, okay, why are we bearish? Well, here you go. Read this book first, right? Now, it's like, oh yeah, it's October. Okay. Okay. You sure? Everybody sees that, right? Everybody sees like, it's October. Okay, let me get out. Then why would it go down that hard? Who's going to be dumped on? Just me? I don't know. It's not enough to dump on, I think. Right? We'll see. Keep it in consideration. There's so much that suggests that we have a long way to go. Right? And again, it's not that I'm saying that this time is different, right? Because macro-wise, it's not, right? This happened many times before. We had many 5-year cycles, 3-year cycles, 4-year cycles. But in the last 3 cycles, yeah, there were only 4-year cycles. And that's what Bitcoin witnessed, right? 2011, yeah, I mean, explain that, please. Right? It was just new. Oh, yeah, it wasn't new enough for the ISM to mark the top, so, okay, but whatever. So in terms of that, it isn't different. It's just that, yeah, crypto hasn't really been around before, right? So it wasn't able to witness, but overlay the S&P, you see that, like, this is not different. And even the bigger YouTubers are now, that were very consistent about the 4-year cycle, are now starting to cover themselves already. Like see Cowan do as well. Like, yeah, it could be like 2019 bear market. But if you are about 4-year cycle, then this is a bear market, this is a bear market, and this is a bear market. Then was this a bear market? I thought this was a bull market. Like, what is it? Right? I also agree, though, that this is probably a lot like 2019, for sure. It's just like not my definition of a bear market, really, right? And it's maybe open for interpretation, whatever. But I think that indeed we could see something like 2019, right? Here it went down 50%. Could we go down 50%? Sure, that leaves, what is it, 70K or so? I said before, like, I think that 70K is somewhat of my worst case scenario, actually. And that would be 62K, actually. Maybe. Is that to be called a bear market? We have seen bull markets where we have seen way more 50% crash in between, right? Or is it because of how long it's going to take? I don't know, right? But 70-ish, I could see happen. Right? And I'm prepared for that. I'm cool with that. That is a great opportunity. I mean, if you bought during 2019, yeah, amazing, right? In my book, not really a bear market. We're going to find out. All I'm saying is be careful, because every YouTuber or whatever person on X advising you to be out of the market because it's a bear market, yeah, they are playing a dangerous game. Like, based on what? On, again, the calendar, and that's it. And maybe 1 or 2 moving averages. Okay. Again, that versus the complete macro and basically every other indicator. And I've been through some bear markets by now, and this is not it. Right? If you are unsure, which I think everybody is, I cannot be sure. Right? Let me tell you that as well. I'm not sure. Of course I'm not sure. You know why? Because I'm not from the future. The only one who can be sure is from the future. Right? Nobody's sure. But if you really feel like, well, I don't know. Okay, cool. Study the ISM a little bit, and then you are at least more sure. But still, if you then feel like, I just don't know, it feels just like, cool. You don't have to go all in on that theory or all in on that theory, right? You could all say like, well, in case it is a bear market, I'm gonna have some cash. In case it's not, I'm gonna have some crypto. It's fine. You don't have to go one or the other, right? That's even the best. Yeah, I want to leave it here. I think that October 2026, again, where people probably expect a bottom, right? If they feel like, well, yeah, it's a regular bear market. Nothing was the same this cycle, but the bear market will be. And that's around 70%. So we'll be sitting at around, I don't know, 40K in October 2026. These people are going to visit Rack City a lot by then. And yeah, good luck, right? Being all out of the market or whatever, or even shorting it. And then it turns out like, hey, it's not that easy, guys. You don't want to be there. Anyway, that's it for today, man. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think down below. But please, do me a favor, do yourself a favor. Let me also know why you think that, okay? That would help everybody, kind of. Like the video if you like the video. If you're not sure if you like the video, like it anyway. Subscribe, turn the bell notification on. See you on the next one.